Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here in West Hollywood, and our guests are actor Leslie A. Jones and artist Jon Marc Edwards. Award-winning actor, musician, Leslie A. Jones was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, served in the Army, studied at the Wilshire Theater Arts Academy in Los Angeles. In 1991, he portrayed Moses Blues with the Mojo Ensemble in Judy Ann Mason's play Indigo Blues. You've seen him in film, on TV, and on lots of stages. I saw him recently in Prez, a play by Willard Manus, portraying musician Lester Young. So tell us about Lester. Hi, Leslie.
How you doing there? Well, about Lester, you know, I had to learn a lot about Lester in order to do this role, and what I found out the most is that he did things his way, and he did not compromise his soul or his art.
So now let's tell me a little bit about Leslie. Was there music in your family?
Yes, actually, my father is a musician. He was with the group called The Times.
Really?
A long time ago. As we stroll along together.
You're kidding.
It's my father.
Fabulous.
Yes, yes. So it's in me.
And what is it, 50s, 40s?
It was like late 40s.
Late 40s, early 50s? Because it was like when they were all doing
the doo-wop thing. There you go.
The same.
There you
so
go.
was there acting also?
No.
Because you have to do both. You're a musician and an actor.
Exactly.
And did you act in the Army?
No, I did not.
So that wasn't any influence at all?
Not at all.
Tell us what happened when you got out of the Army.
Oh, well, when I got out of the Army, I went back to Philadelphia and couldn't make it in Philadelphia at anything. I did play in some bands and whatnot, but the job situation, I mean, you had to keep a roof over your head. So the job situation was kind of scarce.
You mean like any kind of job?
Yeah.
We're not talking show business jobs.
Yeah, no show business. No, any kind of job, yeah. And so what actually happened to me is I ended up calling a few buddies that I was in the Army with, came out here, had no intentions whatsoever to act, play music, or anything. And I stumbled into it, and the way...
That's pretty interesting because you were a mature person by that time, right?
No.
Well, you should have been mature. You were a grown-up.
I'm still not mature.
You were a grown-up.
Yes. I was in my late 20s. Yes.
Wow. So you really came to it late.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't start acting until the age of 31, 32.
Wow.
You know, and the way I did it was, like I said, when I did come out here, I'm a fitness buff, so I would run. I was working at this factory in Culver City, so on my lunch break I would run, and I ran to this park up in the hills, and they were filming a TV show, and I sat there, I stopped, I watched, you know, I said, wow. If they could do that, I can do that because it looked like it's just real, you know. So I went to Wilshire Theater of Arts.
That was the first thing.
That was the first thing.
But then you went to a lot of other acting schools, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I actually studied with one of the best out here, which is Howard Fine.
Fabulous, yeah. I know you went and you really honed your skills once you got into it, right?
Right, exactly.
So music was in your family. Your dad was singing, and you were singing, I guess.
Yeah, I was singing and playing.
But you didn't think about going into music?
Yes, but music came with the ups and the downs and the I saw a lot of them. Yes.
So,
yes.
How many instruments do you play?
I play 3 of the saxes: tenor, alto, and soprano.
Are all those different?
Yes. Yes, they're the alto is in E flat, and the tenor is B flat. The soprano is B flat, and I also play flute, and I play percussion drums, hand percussion drums.
Oh, right, because you did that on stage. You did all of this on
yes,
stage, which was so good, besides
yes.
running around. And when you said you were a fitness buff, I can see you had to be, to do that role. This role of Lester Young was very, very demanding.
Yes, it was physically demanding and emotionally demanding.
Emotionally, too. I'm going to just hold this up.
Exactly.
Because this is just one of the many musicians you've portrayed.
Right.
You portrayed Moses Blues, which we talked about. Tell us about that.
That was a play by the name of Indigo Blues, and Moses Blues was a ghost.
A real ghost.
He was a ghost. The premise of it is that this guy was trying to get from New York back down south to get his girl. He got hit by a train on the way. He never made it physically, but his ghost did. So I was the ghost, and I played most of the music. I played all the music, actually. I scored it.
Oh, you did,
yes.
too. And then you portrayed Miles, did you?
No, Charlie Bird Parker.
Charlie Bird, right. Oh, I thought there was a play called Miles that you were in, too.
No.
And I was thinking that was Miles. No.
No.
So Charlie Parker, yeah, Charlie the Bird.
The Bird.
And then how do you get yourself into those roles?
I find a common denominator, something that I share, something that the character actually shared, and
other than music, because
music,
yeah, because you can pick up any of these instruments, right?
Right.
And that is what that artist uses.
Exactly. But his emotional base, I had to connect with things, and it was easy for me with Lester Young because we both had parallel lives. I went to the Army, didn't like the Army, got out of the Army. He's a family man. He loved his family. He talked about his family.
Lester.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't a drug addict, but he did drink. I do drink a little, and just finding those little common bonds, and that's easy.
And then let's talk about that play some more. Who cast it? How did you get cast? How did you?
Will. He wrote it
Willard.
for me.
He wrote it for
He
you.
wrote it for me. He wrote Charlie Bird Parker for me as well.
Oh, he wrote that play as well. He's written 40 plays. What is it? Manis is his name? Willard Manis. He's written 40 plays.
40 plays. Yes, he has. And 2 of them he wrote for me. So
how did you meet him?
I did a play of his called Bridge. And it was about another jazz musician in Brooklyn, New York or somewhere, and he would go up to the bridge and play, and these people would come up there to kill themselves, to jump off the bridge.
Oh.
And
they'd hear
my
you?
horn playing and talking to them would basically stop them some of them from jumping.
Oh, that's very interesting. He's a very interesting guy. Lives here in West LA.
Yes.
And he must just write all the time.
I think so. I think so. Yes, indeed.
But Lester Young, besides all the things you're talking about, is not somebody who had a name that we know. He's not a well-known name.
He is not a well-known name because, as he says in the play, he couldn't even make it in a smaller band. You see, he tried to have his own band, but he didn't have that mindset to run and lead a band. So he ended up being basically a sideman for the rest of his time.
Yeah, so he was with really top people. Who was he with?
Count Basie,
right,
Fletcher Henderson, Billie Holiday. Who else did he play with?
Billie Holiday was a big part of his life, right?
Yeah. That was his buddy.
And he just played for her, or with the band, or he played.
He played behind her.
Behind her,
with the band. But the thing is that everybody thought that they were lovers. But they weren't. They were just good buddies, you know, just good buddies, and they cared for each other like brother and sister do.
But you talk about that like that.
Yes.
You talk about her like that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you have that brotherly love for her because you're worried about the way she's
conducting her life.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Destroying her life in
Destroying
a way.
it, right. Exactly, with the drugs and whatnot, and the, you know, the partners that she had.
Oh, that was true too,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Those things, right.
Exactly.
You've done roles on TV.
Yes, I
Are
have.
they all musicians?
No.
Recurring. You have a recurring role on Beverly Hills 90210.
I did, the original.
What was it? What kind of role was that?
I was a henchman.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a heavy, you know.
Wow.
My name was Ronnie. I played the character
My name
as
was
Ronnie
Ronnie.
on that show, you know, and I would do the bidding for the guy that killed
Really?
Luke Perry's father, you know.
Oh, you
yeah,
did?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
do
wow.
his bidding. He would call me in when he wanted something heavy done, you know.
Yeah. Is that run every now and then?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I just got a residual check for something overseas. It was running
Oh,
overseas.
it's running
or something.
overseas. So
Yeah,
if you get
yeah.
on a plane and go to Europe, they're going to know
They probably
who you are.
will know me. Exactly. I'll be a celeb over there, right?
Exactly. Another movie that you were in was the 23rd Psalm, Redemption.
Right, right.
What kind of a role was that?
It was a again. I play basically a thug. I was a preacher. It was two parts to that. The first
A
part,
thug preacher?
yeah, basically this guy was he was terrible in a way. He thought that he was above God,
Oh, wow.
and
yeah.
when someone else got the power of healing, he ended up killing this person. So he went to jail. Now the redemption is coming out of jail. He came out of jail and he tried to kidnap and kill the person that actually sent him to jail.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I forget
so-
who wrote that. So,
His name is Chris Odom. Yeah, and it's a faith-based film.
Yeah. And where did you make that?
23rd Psalms Redemption was made in Tennessee.
Oh, was.
And the 23rd Psalms was the first one was made out here.
Oh, so there were two of them.
There were two of them in South Central.
I see.
Yeah.
Your father was a singer.
Yes.
Did he play an instrument?
No. His
Look at the
instrument.
difference.
His
Isn't that
instrument is his
interesting?
voice.
That's really different, isn't it?
He's a DJ though.
You have a band now,
Yes,
and it's called Right Hand Rule.
Right Hand Rule.
Tell me about it.
We are a fusion of rock, blues, and spoken word, and we do have a cover on there by Bill Withers called "Use Me." But but we play around the city, Viper Room, when House of Blues was working.
I
and,
know,
yeah,
it's
we
going
played the House.
away.
We played the House of Blues a number of times, you know. But yeah.
And what kind of music?
It's a fusion. It's a fusion.
So it's
of,
like
yeah,
all
it's
different?
kind of mixed up. It's eclectic groups of music, you know, and it's a little bit of something there for everyone.
Do you write any of the music?
I wrote it all.
Oh, you did.
I wrote it all.
So you're just continuing to compose. Do you continue studying also?
I never did study.
I mean acting.
Acting, yes.
You continue
Oh,
that?
yes.
But
yeah,
as far as
yes.
school and college and etc.
No, I never. I tried going to college, but it wasn't for me. So you know, but no.
You knew how to read and write. And
Yes.
compose.
Oh, very well. Very
and
well.
play an instrument. Did you take lessons, or
No.
does it come naturally?
It comes naturally. It comes naturally.
Oh, that's-
One thing you asked about Lester Young and my character. Well,
Right.
he never really read music.
Oh, he didn't.
He didn't. He was in his.
But you read music.
I
'cause
do
you
not.
Write. Oh, you do not either.
I do not. I don't,
So
and
you
I
have
don't
that
write in the conventional way at all.
So there's a real symbiotic connection.
There is.
Wow.
There is.
So that's why you channeled him so well.
I do think so. I do think so.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a great, great play.
Well,
And I'm so happy you came to be a guest on my show because I was thrilled sitting there watching you work. You work
thank
so
you.
hard.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm just glad you guys appreciate it, you know, Because that's what we really do it for. I don't do it for money. I do it because I have a passion and love for it, you know, for the art, period. So.
And we'll see that play go somewhere. So we have to keep looking for it, right?
Oh, yeah,
Prez.
yeah. We want it to go somewhere.
Right.
You know,
it's going to go somewhere, continue to go.
Yes, yes. Hopefully, yes.
Leslie Joan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Jon Marc Edwards, the artist who we have his work on the set today.
Some great stuff right there, too.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here in the West Hollywood studios, and I'm with artist Jon Marc Edwards. He's an award-winning conceptual artist and designer who studied at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. He's experienced punk excesses, negative spaces, character as text and image, and he was at one time totally immersed in Zen in Japan. I'm going to ask him about all those things that we just mentioned. But his work has been in galleries across the United States and in Europe. So,
hello.
Hi. Let's talk about all that moving around as a child you did. How did you ground yourself?
It was, looking back, it was very difficult to get a really good education, and I moved to 8 different states, and within those states, 3 or 4 different times. So we're talking like 3 third grades at
different places.
Yeah, 3 times I was in a different third grade during a course of a year.
And why were you moving around so much?
Oh, my dad was a he worked for Kresge and Kmart, and he was
that
a
right?
buyer.
They moved that much?
And they moved, he would open a store. This was boom time for Kresge and Kmart.
Oh.
So they had opened a store and then move him to a new store. And so
and where were you born?
Traveled. I was born in Leavenworth, Kansas. So
is that where they had a store there?
They had a store there, evidently, yeah. And quickly, I only lived there like 3 or 4 months, and we moved to Bismarck, North Dakota, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow.
Quincy, Illinois. Came to California and lived 3 or 4 places here in Orange County and Granada Hills.
How did you get to Minneapolis College of Art when there's so many art schools in the country that you've visited?
You know, at the time, Minneapolis College of Art and Design was offering a film school in an art context, and they were one of the first schools to do that, and that got me very interested in doing filmmaking at the time. That's something I was really interested in, and I had taken film classes in high school. So that got me really interested to go there, and I had lived there as a kid, and I was curious, and you know,
because it's a great school.
It's a really great school.
Very cultured city.
I met some amazing visiting artists as well as faculty. And
I bet.
So
who came in there?
Jim Hayward, painter from LA. John Miller, painter from LA.
Both great conceptual artists too.
Mike
right?
Kelly was there for a good time, and
Frank Gehry taught there. I know he came in and out
at
one time. I don't know if he was there when you were there. Probably
he was.
after.
He did a big project at the Walker Art Museum. And I remember.
Were you in school? I went to that opening.
Oh, you did?
Yes, with that big glass fish in the lobby. Wasn't it fantastic?
Hey, I had a mural at the Walker Art Center during that whole thing.
You did?
Yeah, so you might have seen it. Who knows?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was good.
That was a very wonderful experience.
That was an amazing piece, Frank.
Wasn't it?
All the glass and
it was the fish on its tail all the way up. It wasn't very safe, but. That's beside
standards
the point.
being what they are.
Exactly, that's beside. So you did choose a really good place.
Mm-hmm.
And where were you in high school?
I was in Detroit, Michigan, a suburb right outside.
So you were involved in film there in Detroit?
Well, I did animation in high school, and
so back to like working with your fingers and hands again,
yeah,
right?
a lot of stop action.
Okay, tell us what punk excess is.
Punk excesses, what would that be? That was going to a lot of rock concerts, punk concerts, and doing artwork for them, and that kind of thing.
And then let's talk about negative space, because in that concept of Ma, because that's very, I think, a big part of what you do.
Yeah, that's appreciating not the tangible three-dimensional aspects of our lives, but the negative, and I don't like to say negative because it sounds negative,
I know.
but it's the
Empty.
or the empty space around things. And you can really start to transfix on some empty spaces and go places just by meditating and thinking about, space that isn't supporting it's anti-gravity, if you will.
Did you learn that in Japan when you were in Japan? Did you learn?
Well, I went to a lot of temples, and a lot of temples work with that idea, and there's a lot of sparse design that accentuates the negativity or the emptiness. And
with like those rock gardens.
The rock gardens,
Is that like that?
That's
Is that
like
what it's
that,
part of it?
And the raked sand.
Yes,
and,
that's all part of it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So were you writing when you were in Japan? When did you start writing? And you write prose. What do you write prose for?
Well, I write prose for myself, but I think the writing comes from I write in sketchbooks continually. I have hundreds, if you will, volumes of sketchbooks that I've kept over the years from the 1970s. So those are treasure troves for me to go back to and do art from, and it takes, so the writing became hieroglyphic for me, and I created symbols, personal symbols, and then that got into some of the work that I was doing in the 90s.
Oh, so then that carried over. But what were you writing in your journals?
Well,
and what do you write? Like, I went to the store today?
No, it could be a diary. It could be what I ate today, where I went to eat, what I found, what I saw.
And then it all comes, images come back to you?
Well, then you do drawings about it,
do.
and signs and characters, especially when Japanese calligraphy was a foreign entity for me, but I saw them as very abstract, formal creations that were really beautiful to look at.
I was going to ask you about your short stories, and one of the questions was, do you actually make the art in your short stories? And I guess you do, because you were talking about your journals, right?
Well, the inspiration does come from there, but the short stories I try and they're visual to read, but I don't do illustrations for them or anything.
Oh, you don't do it, yeah. But they're just visual because of the calligraphy and the way you write them?
Well, I try to articulate my feelings or the story as much as possible. So.
In what way?
Just using the right word for the right moment, that kind of thing.
Like that, I see.
Yeah.
So what materials would you say you use in your work? What materials are the most used?
The most used, well, right now I'm using laser cut this stuff. The laser cut words. And this is from chipboard, and it's recyclable, it's biodegradable, and I do a lot of collages.
And how do you cut? This is a cue. That's a cue. You just picked up a cue for me, Quinn.
Good. Who knew?
Good call. So do you cut it? You have a...
No, a laser cut, I go downtown to someone.
Oh, somebody else
Someone
does
has a shop that
I see. Okay, so you don't do that. All right.
So like this painting is made up of it's Helvetica, which is a typeface I like to use. I should say when I was growing up and going from store to store with my father, I would do a lot of the ink block printing for the signs for the stores, and where you take the ink and roll it over the block, and then you push the paper down and then pull the paper up and you got your sign. So I had that experience. So
they were using those in those stores like that, instead of rolling them off?
It was really old technology. Yeah.
That was great.
So I've always been intrigued by ink block, which is a Japanese reference, but also words and text and graphic notations. And so getting back to this, I use collage in these paintings, and at first it looks like a scramble, but as you get closer to it, words will either emerge randomly or some that I've set up precisely. And in this particular piece that I brought was from a series, this is called I Want You, which was inspired by the Bob Dylan song from a long time ago. And it was, there's some romance pleading here and romantic pleading here. And
there's a little image here.
There's a little image down here, which is the you.
You.
Or
no,
whoever's,
it's the you.
Or who's ever looking at it. And it shines in the light. And, so...
are there different materials in here? Because it looks like that's a different...
Yeah, there's a lot of,
Is there metal in it?
no, there's no metal. There's plexiglass, there's fabric dye, there's acrylic, matte medium, there's
And what
a
is
few
it
other
on?
things. It's on a panel.
It's on a panel.
Mhm.
So these are, and it looks like this is a ceramic back, but it's not.
That's just the paint.
It's just the paint that's. So you do.
So I use fine mists of paint, and there's 50 or 60 layers, and it
And
slowly,
it makes like a ceramic.
it gets like that.
Is it that hard too?
It's pretty,
Pretty hard? Pretty hard.
makes a sound when you hit it.
And then on top of it, broken glass?
Well, broken plexiglass, yeah.
Broken plexiglass.
Yeah, so
So you do use a lot of different materials.
I like
you
a lot
do,
of different,
you like, yeah.
I'll sweep up my studio and gather that stuff and throw it on a panel and see what happens.
So this isn't really described as conceptual art because you're a conceptual artist. What does that mean?
Well, conceptual artists, I guess, would be I take a concept and I run with it. Like this piece.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
yeah,
I'm going to hold it up.
I spent the 90s compressing text into characters so that words became calligraphic, if you will. So it looks like it's not legible,
Is
but
this
actually,
right? A
yes,
T?
yeah. So it's Truth.
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 So that's your truth.
That's the truth crystal.
And this is the actual
I did
design. It just looks like a design that you've made.
well, and there's
I'm going to
a
hold it against the black so we can see it maybe better.
so yeah, this way for the camera. So yeah, there's a design element involved, and there's an art on how
It looks like Japanese calligraphy in a way. Some of the letters. Do you draw on that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So this was a way to take English or Spanish or any Latin language and compress the letters into a character and retain a legibility if you learn the code of, there's 5 basic codes, like the biggest letter comes first, followed by the top to the bottom, pretty easy stuff once you get into it. And then
And then that's the way. You've gotten a lot of commissions and grants, the Tiffany Foundation and the Bush Foundation, and what, Jerome?
Yeah, those were early
what were
Kickstarters, if you will, not to name drop another organization, but
those are
but
pretty
those are-
impressive,
those were
right?
impressive. Those
Neiman
got me-
Marcus.
those gave me some confidence to keep pushing my
What
work.
did you do
and,
for those people, and what did they do for you?
let's see, the Jerome allowed me to travel. I went to New York 3 or 4 times, and this was while I'm still in Minneapolis, and went to galleries and met artists and got to, I was deciding, do I want to move to New York?
That was the Jerome.
That was a Jerome. The Bush was a fellowship for a year. They give you a stipend to create work in your studio, which was amazing.
Really great.
And then the Tiffany was really amazing. They just, I think it was 15,000 at the time. This was early, like 87, and they just gave you some money and said, do great work.
You're doing great work. And before we leave,
yes.
I want to just show what this is. Because these were the laser cuts. And
these were the laser cuts.
This is an actual piece of art. Should I move this? No, I think that's okay.
If you can see that. So what happens is you have your text, and then you can sprinkle it over this. I call it, you can let that fall. It's all about text being debris or litter.
Oh,
and
so you call it debris.
Debris, so it's debris and graffiti, and you can throw this to the wind. It floats. It's biodegradable. It's recyclable. It doesn't hurt the earth or anything. But if you came across it, you might want to spell something, or you might want to throw it yourself.
So you could make a little puddle of...
So I sprinkle this in corners of weird spaces and park benches and
all
over the place. Yeah, so people can buy this and do their own projects.
Oh, I see.
And that's what the project, the Debris show, was all about.
And where was the Debris show?
That was at Market in Silver Lake,
and what
California.
was there? And what was there?
So the Debris show was modeled after a marijuana dispensary. And you would walk in and you'd think at first it's a marijuana dispensary, but in fact it was different grades and textures and colors of text. And so
like
you could
text
go,
like this.
like this.
Yeah.
And so you could talk to one of our textualists, and they would help you either find a word that you were looking for, or we have pre-made words or phrases or long Bukowski poems, whatever you
Really?
need to, I think...
So how long was that up?
That was up for 2 months.
So people were coming in and buying a word or buying a bag of debris.
Yeah, exactly. Kids love it, I must say.
It's a wonderful concept.
Words are more powerful than drugs, so you really get to feel that when you're there, because I must say kids go crazy wanting to spell their name at first, but then just running.
All of a sudden, it's just...
There's like, I can do this, and I can do this. And
it's like this, then. It's like that. And that's a great way to end it, because it is like that. And all these letters are like that for all of us. That's great, Jon Marc. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
It was great. Thanks for watching. And keep writing to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. We'll see you next time.